I heard the knock before the door existed. 3 slow pulses through the drywall, like a heartbeat with nowhere to live. By the time I reached the hallway, the new door was already there. Flat black, no number, no peephole, the metal sweating with cold. Everyone else on my floor walked past like it belonged. I said the word hello to test whether sound could survive beside it. The corridor swallowed the word and left a colder echo behind. The paper triangle waited on the carpet. My name was written the way a child writes on frosted glass, Maria. Not my building name, not the one from work, my mother's name for me. Inside, the message was both thin and heavy. You left this open. Come back when it knocks again. I hadn't touched it. I didn't even know there had been an open. But the sentence hung around my throat like a lanyard with someone else's key. I put the note in my pocket without looking down, because the handle had started to breathe. The metal drew air in, let air out, fogging itself with a human rhythm. My feet got me back into my apartment. My hands locked 2 deadbolts. If I kept lights on, I thought I could pin the night to the walls. That lasted until the bulbs hummed and dimmed and failed, one by one, as if an invisible hand was pinching the filaments closed. The fridge exhaled, the vents stilled, and silence poured in so thick my ears rang. At 3:03 a.m., something tapped under my bed, not a scurry, not a pipe. It sounded like a fingertip calmly counting wood grain. From the wall, the door knocked back. 3, again, patient, the way a surgeon is patient with anesthesia. I pressed my palms to my eyes until colors spun, and when I looked again, my phone screen was lit by an unknown text. We only counted to 3 because you already know 4. Come back. I wanted to call someone. I typed my brother's number, and the phone corrected it to my own. The contact card showed my face, but older, tired, already relieved that I had finally stopped resisting. The door knocked a 4th time from inside my skull. I put my shoes on because it felt like confession required footwear. The hallway had a smell now, sour and sweet together, like fruit left to prey. The door stood an inch open. Cold leaked out of the gap with a whispering draft, and the hair on my arms stood up as if each strand remembered something I didn't. I lifted my hand and paused, as if a pause could save a life. The 4th knock didn't come from the door. It came from my chest, and the echo answered from the other side. The note had lied. The door wasn't waiting for me, it was counting me down. I don't know who opened it. Maybe I did, sometime before now, but when I pressed my palm to the metal, it felt like touching a forehead after a fever breaks. The chill was so clean I tasted copper. From inside, a light bled out that wasn't light at all, more like the memory of lightning trying to remember its first shape. I told myself a rule: in haunted places, narrate. If you can speak the moment, maybe you get to own it. This is me, I whispered. This is my hallway. The draft took the sentence and flattened it until only the vowels floated back, thin as plastic. I leaned closer to hear, and the gap widened on its own, polite, as if the house had learned manners while I slept. Across the hall, Mrs. Vega's door clicked open. She'd always worn pink slippers and a chain of brass keys that looked older than gravity. Now, she stepped out barefoot. Her eyes were milked with sleep, but she moved like a person in a fire drill, calm, correct, forgiven in advance. She didn't see me. She didn't see anything but the black door. When the light touched her, every wrinkle on her face smoothed as if a clock had been pressed to her skin and set backwards. She went in, no gasp, no remark. Just a long exhale like a scuba diver meeting water. Down the hall, more latches turned, more neighbors walked out, all with that same relief. They queued with the gentle order of believers at a pilgrimage site. I couldn't find the sound of their feet. Each step erased itself. My phone trembled again. Another message from the same unnumbered sender. You are late to your own leaving. Bring the name you only use when you bleed. Bring the voice you use when you lie to children. Bring the key. What key? I asked out loud, and my keys answered by chiming once in my pocket. The brass was warm against my leg. I pulled the ring out and found one I'd never seen before. Long, iron, with a throat like a needle. It tanged the air as if striking glass. I had to use it, I had already used it. I slid it into the lock that had no keyhole, and the door obliged by inventing one. The click had the softness of a camera shutter in a church. The seam widened to a mouth, and cold rolled over my shoes. In the reflective smear of the metal I saw myself older again, my hair damp as if from fog, my smile crooked in a way I've always hidden in photos. She lifted her finger to her lips from inside the reflection and shook her head. Do not call for help. We both knew there was no service on the other side of counting. Inside wasn't a room. It was a landscape printed on the idea of a room. The floor had the texture of carpet but made no sound. The walls were there until you looked at them, and then they were a horizon pretending to be close. My neighbors stood in a staggered choir, facing away, each with their hands clasped, as if about to apologize. The pale not light glazed their shoulders. None of them breathed. Or maybe the place had decided breath was a noise to be misfiled. The door swung mostly closed behind me, leaving an inch of reality visible like a bookmark. I told myself another rule: if you can see the exit, you can leave. So I stared at the strip of hallway until it became a second dawn. From the hush, a figure stepped out, me, but calibrated wrong, as if someone had assembled me from a manual written in a language that favors absence. Why did you ignore the knocks? She asked, and the voice was mine the way a recording is mine. Accurate, empty, too loud. I didn't, I said. I never. You did, she said, smiling with patience not meant for me. Don't worry, it's how we keep the count true. She tilted her head toward the choirs of neighbors. They needed a number to line up behind. They needed a person who believed in doors. Behind her, the floor seemed to ripple like a sheet getting pulled straight. The choir took one synchronized step forward and the silence grew teeth. Each time their feet should have struck, the place edited the moment to remove collision. My stomach accepted a fall that my body didn't take. The not me reached for my wrist. Her hand was the same temperature as a solution chilled overnight in a lab. She guided my fingers to my throat. Listen, she said. You can feel where the knocks live. Under my skin, something tall sat cross-legged, tapping up against bone with patient knuckles. My phone tried to ring. It got the idea almost right. Then turned the sound into the cry you hear in a dream right before you wake. On the screen, a new message wrote itself letter by letter. You have always been the handle. You have always been the room. I wanted to back away, but the inch of hallway had narrowed to a paper cut. I could still smell that sour sweet outside, or maybe it was my blood-bribing panic. The not me set my palm to her chest. No heartbeat. Only counting 1, 2, 3, an empty space, waiting for me to complete it. When I kept silent, her smile cracked like ice, a lovely sound meaning a lake just opened. The choir advanced once, and the room adjusted its facts to stay polite. I don't know if time passed. The light stayed the shape of an idea and never got tired. The not me, my reflection pressed into personhood, walked with me along edges that pretended to be walls. You've done well, she said. You kept the numbers clean. She sounded like a dentist who appreciates flossing. What happens if I keep the door open? I asked. She tilted her head. Nothing stays open. Open is just a verb we point at on our way to closed. We stopped where the floor rose into a low hill. On its crest sat an object that didn't look like furniture until you accepted its desire to be sat upon. A chair sewn from black straps, with buckles that had been polished by many helpless forearms. My phone vibrated again. Final inventory. Bring what you kept hidden when you were 12. Bring what you told the doctor instead of the real story. Bring the name inside your name. I didn't hide anything, I said, too fast. Words fogged the air and became little mirrors, showing a girl braiding the dark into strands. The not me watched with fondness that frightened me. We can be honest now, she said gently. The count forgives everything it uses. One of my neighbors, Mr. Lee with the careful handwriting, peeled out of the choir and took the chair without a wince. The straps cinched themselves with the swift, efficient love of seatbelts in a crash. The light poured through him until his edges sharpened, like a photo coming into focus. He smiled, relieved to be over. The chair ate the smile and offered him to the room. I looked at the seam of hallway in the door. It was a thread now, silver and fine, and my stomach knew the taste of scissors. "Please let me keep something," I told the not me. My voice made a brief warm fog on her shoulder. She kissed the fog like a mother kissing a window where her child's prints used to be. "You may keep your fear," she said. "We need it to measure with." The chair pivoted toward me with the serenity of a clock hand. The straps loosened into ribbons, whispering across the floor like snakes deciding to be belts. I thought, "Throw it into the knot light and run." I thought, "Kneel and let it happen." The room pre-approved both thoughts, stamping them complete in a language my bones understood. "Tell me the last number," the not me said. "There isn't one," I answered, surprising us both. Her face softened, as if I had finally pronounced a password properly. "Good," she said. "Then you understand why we needed you. Only someone who knows there's no last number can hold the door at almost." I didn't sit. The straps wanted me badly, but want isn't destiny, it's just gravity with better manners. I walked to the seam where the door remembered the hallway and pressed my eye to it. Outside was gray morning, and a carpet with a bleach stain shaped like a map of a country that doesn't exist. I could make it wider. I tried with my fingers, but the gap behaved like a scar. It would not reopen by being told. Behind me, the choir bowed their heads as if in church when a baby cries. The not me waited without impatience. "If you go," she said, "you will still count for us. Every time you refuse to listen, the knocks will add you anyway. We're generous that way." "What happens if I stay?" I asked. "You'll be the best kind of open," she said, "a hinge." I laughed, and tears found my mouth with the old, salty surprise of childhood. "I don't want to be a door," I said. "You already are," she said. "Every person is a door, we just prefer the ones who notice." I put my palm to the seam. The metal was winter cold. I thought of my mother saying my name, like a secret that would spoil if held too long. I thought of my brother reading the weather aloud, just to hear a voice in the room. I thought of Mrs. Vega's slippers. "I'll come back," I told the room, "but not today." The light around us thinned, nervous. The not me's expression changed the way a tide changes, decisively, without hurry. "Then take your count with you," she said. "4 will travel." She touched my throat with 2 fingers. A sound like a small bell passed through bone, and the seam widened to a mouth, and the mouth became a door that believed in me. I stepped out into the hall. The black door swung shut behind me with a windless draft, and the number panel beside it blinked a single digit that wasn't there before. 4. My phone chimed. A final message, from the unnumbered sender. "You left it open perfectly. See you when you are tired." At the lobby, the front door opened on the city. I walked out and counted the traffic lights and cracks and pigeons. The air was not warmer, but it was mine. Behind me, somewhere high, a door knocked its patient 3. I let the 4th live in my throat like a coin you keep for a payphone that's been gone for 20 years. When I breathed, it rang lightly. When I spoke my name, the sound fit.